In the last 18 months, we've seen a huge change in the way we support people who are sleeping rough and in other forms of homelessness like sofa surfing. We've seen thousands of people who normally wouldn't be eligible for help be offered a room of their own with access to things like their own bathroom and support services. And this has changed lives. It's meant people who have sometimes slept rough on our streets for years on end have engaged with support services and have been able to start taking steps out of homelessness for good. But right now, we also know that lots of those people have nowhere to go. They aren't being offered a home of their own. And so even though they're in a safer place than they were before, their homelessness still hasn't ended. We also know, because of the huge and significant impact that the pandemic has had on people's livelihoods and their incomes, that homelessness is actually projected to go up in the next 5 years. We have to change this and we have to prevent this from happening. We need a new approach to ending homelessness in this country. And the first step to that will be the national rollout of Housing First, so that we can provide a safe and secure home and access to the right support for people who are most likely to be at risk of rough sleeping and returning to sofa surfing and other situations of homelessness. People are much more likely to develop support needs like mental ill health because of the trauma of homelessness itself. So we need to end homelessness. We need to make sure that no one is forced to live in that way. Normally in our homelessness system, people are required to prove that they're ready to have a home. So it means they might first be offered something like a night shelter or a hostel where they have to share sleeping space or bathroom space to prove that they can engage in services before they can have a home of their own. Housing First turns that on its head, and it says actually everyone should have a home first, and when they're in a safe, stable place to live, that's when they can engage in services. We all want to make choices in our lives and have control of what we do, and that's what Housing First gives. It puts the person right at the centre of the programme, and it's because of this that we've seen thousands of people have their homelessness ended. Around the world, in Housing First programmes, around 80% of people who are in the programme remain in their homes and don't return to homelessness. That's an incredible success rate, especially because this program supports people who face multiple challenges and therefore can find it incredibly difficult to find the right support in the usual homelessness system. And what's more, we've seen it here too. So in 2018, the government funded pilots for Housing First in 3 areas. And in those areas, we know that more than 90% of the people who have been helped through Housing First are still in a home of their own and have had their homelessness ended. We also know that it saves money in the long run. For every £1 invested in Housing First in this country, the government will actually save £1.24, because people will have a home of their own and they won't need to engage in support services or the homelessness system. The government made a pledge to end rough sleeping in England by 2024, and Housing First is the way to achieve that manifesto commitment. It's up to us to make sure that the government delivers on that pledge. So please add your name to the Chancellor's letter calling for urgent investment in Housing First programmes in the upcoming spending review.